So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Think Turkey. And in today's episode, it is a very, very important topic that we're going to talk about, which is related to the economy of Turkey, what's happening in 2023 and beyond. What does the future of Turkey look like potentially? Right? There's a lot of questions in the air right now. So, this is what we're going to be exploring in this video. We're going to give you an overview of what's happening in Turkey, and should you as an investor be investing in Turkey? Is this the right time to invest in Turkey? Or should you wait, or should you cancel your plans completely? So we're going to dive in and really try to give you as objective look as possible. So now the biggest question is, did I ask ChatGPT this question, and what was the answer to that, right? So let me read you some of what ChatGPT said and what do I think. So I asked ChatGPT, write me a YouTube script on should people invest in Turkey in 2023 in real estate in Turkey. And I'm just going to jump to the main part. So it says, yeah, Turkey's economy has been on the rise in recent years, and we're looking at a projected growth rate of 3.5% in 2023, which means that a good economy is a positive point for a strong housing market. So then moving on to the construction industry in Turkey is also booming, with a focus on modern homes, apartments, and so on. And the tours talks about the tourism industry, which is also going great. But do your research and make sure you find the property right consultant and so on to work with. So overall positive, a bit brief. So I mean, I'm here to tell you that ChatGPT cannot always do the justice that it sometimes that we humans can provide. The value that we can provide. So basically, I'm proving my value here against ChatGPT. So let's see if the viewers agree or not. So number one, I want to remind you of the protection of investment in Turkey. So your investment is protected in the sense that you as a foreigner, since June 17, 2003, there was a direct foreign investments law that was entered, that was put into effect. And this gives you as a foreigner rights, to make free and direct foreign investments in Turkey, and you shall be treated as equals, just like a domestic investor, just like a local. So this is something very unique, and Turkey, so far, since the establishment of Turkey, has followed on their word. They have followed the laws that they have actually put down with regards to investment and real estate and so on. They have followed them. They have not turned back on them. So we have no example of that happening so far, right? So this is the number one thing, that your investment as a foreigner is protected. It's not like someone is going to come in and be like, hey, that's it, we're going to revoke that and this is going to happen, right? So far we have not seen that. Over time and time again, different governments have come in and gone. We haven't seen that. So that's the number one thing I wanted to mention first. The next topic is a little bit controversial, and I don't want to get into it too deep, but there is election is coming up, which we can't ignore as real estate investors in Turkey, even though we're not locals and we're not going deep into that discussion. So basically, what I want to say is, yes, there is an election coming up, and in June, and possibly has been moved up to May. So that is something that investors should keep an eye on. But again, like I said, the investments are protected, according to law, and so far we have no reason to believe that any new party or government will go against that, right? So far we have no reason to believe that. If it does happen, it's going to be totally something unprecedented. So we don't have an actual reason to believe that something like that will happen. So this is what's happening. We're looking at the elections are coming up. And so far, you've still got the AKP and MHP parties that are together, forming a coalition, and the CHP is the opposition, the main strong contender at this point. They're still looking for somebody to represent their party. There's still a little bit of confusion as far as I understand. There isn't a very clear candidate, although the mayor of Istanbul is supposedly looks like he might be a good candidate. But again, nothing is clear as of yet fully. From my understanding, again, this is completely from my understanding of what's happening. Several foreign news, news pages, especially The Economist, has released something, like they do each time there's an election. Apparently, they have released issues with, they're kind of explaining about Turkey and, the rule of the current party and so on. And they're kind of, giving their own point of view, basically, without going into too much details. So basically, I'm just going to cut it short here. This is what's going on. Make sure you guys follow up on that. Keep a close eye on it, and make your decisions wisely. Now, like things like the CBI program, which is the Citizenship by Investment program, I wouldn't be surprised if that went away completely or was like increased to $1 million or something like that. If the parties got changed or something like that. So that is definitely a possibility, I would say, from my experience. And of course, residence permits right now we're looking at 75K minimum, 50K for small towns. Those again might go away or might even be increased and so on. So again, those are some things that investors or people looking to establish themselves in Turkey need to take into consideration. Those kinds of things. Now, let's move on to the Turkish economy and their population. So they've got a very young population. Turkey's population is, 23% of the population is 0 to 14 years of age. 67.8% is 15 to 64, and then there's only 8.8%, which is 65 plus. Compared to other EU member states, Turkey has the highest number of young population, and thus this creates a lot of significant opportunities for investors to hire. If you're looking to have a business and so on, then you can hire a nice young educated population. So that's just about their population. Definitely, we know the talent that exists in Turkey. Just there's a language issue, obviously. Apart from that barrier, you're looking at talented individuals. If you're able to somehow overcome that barrier of language, then you're looking at a great, powerful workforce that is skilled, that knows how to do their work, and there's hardworking, and even when it comes to tech level jobs and things like that, very good, sense of design, sense of their coding level and so on. A lot of them, have created startups and apps and softwares and so on that have gone across the world. So I think one of the famous ones, the e-learning platform, I think Udemy is co-founded by a Turkish person. Recently, many startups like we have Dream Games is a mobile app company that hit like unicorn level in just a couple of years. They've got a food delivery company that hit unicorn status, Getir, and they are launching like in different countries in Europe and all over the place. So definitely there is potential there in terms of their population. They do have a young population. It's not perfect, of course. Not. I mean, they do have a lot of room to grow. That's where the gap comes in. That's where investors like yourself come in, where you can help bridge that gap. You can take advantage of that raw talent that's there that needs a little bit of grooming, direction, and take that and turn it into something useful. And not to say that there isn't already locals are able to do that, but I would say there's still availability to kind of utilize that. Let's talk about foreign companies that are investing in Turkey, like big ones, right? So when it comes to manufacturing sector, we've got motor vehicle manufacturing from different companies like Ford and Hyundai, and different automotive parts by various different brands. They've got so for example, recently Hyundai Motors, Hyundai or Hyundai, I don't know however you guys pronounce it, the South Korean company, a vehicle company, has expanded their share in their factory in Izmir. You've got Chinese smartphone companies following the lead of already Oppo, Xiaomi, I think it's pronounced right, Xiaomi. Now we've got TCL and Vivo as well coming in and starting to manufacture their phones in Turkey, investing in Turkey, and partnering up with Arçelik. Arçelik is an excellent brand. I mean, Beko and Arçelik are amazing Turkish brands which are producing appliances, white goods, and like washing machines, stoves, and those kinds of things like refrigerators and so on. And the quality, and it's unparalleled at the price point that they're giving it at. I mean, forget about Samsung and all these other things. I mean, these guys, what they're making and at the price level they're able to offer, it's incredible. Like you'll see their stuff now like in Eastern Europe and the Balkans, and these guys are just like they're getting shipped over there and people are just buying it like crazy. What other companies? So IKEA itself has shifted more production to Turkey because of manufacturing being closer to the supply chain. As we know, supply chains are being shortened everywhere that we're going. So people, companies, foreign companies that are like European based, are trying to shorten that chain, so they don't want to be so far away. So that is a great advantage for Turkey being in the central location that it is in. Another thing is Malaysian, firm, which is Mr. DIY, which sounds pretty cool actually, really nice name. They have opened up, expanded in Turkey. They want to open up more stores there. They've got multiple stores, like 1,600 stores worldwide in Thailand, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines, Cambodia, and India. So this is another company now. They want to go ahead and open up, invest in Turkey. So we've got, of course, I talked about Dream Games. It's a mobile gaming company. It's Turkey's fourth unicorn, hit $1 billion. In valuation, and some really big investors invested into that. So you got tons of companies. Amazon opened up a location down in the Asian side in Tuzla. They opened up a huge facility. They hired like thousands of people. Expanded there. So I mean, when you see like these companies are coming into Turkey, like what does that tell you? Like if these people with lots of analysts, researchers, just teams of people investing their money, and how companies, they really like to, do their research usually, when it comes to opening up huge facilities of, millions and hundreds of millions, tens of millions of dollars worth. So when you have that type of investment, you tend to do your research really well. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a reason why they're coming to Turkey, right? From my understanding, at least from my viewpoint, when you see these type of companies that are coming, investing in Turkey, increasing their investment, they have that trust in Turkey. They see that Turkey is a resilient, partner, that even though it does get repeatedly hit by many barriers and blockades and so on from all sides, things keep happening, but it keeps getting up. It doesn't stop, and it just continues to get up, and each time and keep on going. Turkey was actually one of the only few countries that in the pandemic itself that they expanded, they continued to grow their economy, which didn't happen in many, like in European countries or in in North America. So Turkey was one of the few countries that actually continued to expand. So another thing I want to say that ChatGPT mentioned is that about Turkey is that due to Turkey's various experiences of crises, Turkey brings with it a certain type of resistance to crisis, and the associated ability of the population to act and adapt. Sorry, what's happening? So act and adapt. So this is a very significant difference to other countries, and we've seen that in Turkey. Like when all the stuff that happened, the 2013 coup attempt, and we've had various incidents every now and then, every few years, like 3 4 years, small things that keep popping up. But Turkey every time adapts, acts quickly, um, and just make sure that everything is back in a very safe position, and just hones down and tries to get everything back on track very quickly. So this is what makes Turkey, in my opinion, very resilient, and just like ChatGPT said, a very strong partner when it comes to investments. Now, let's talk about another important thing, which is energy, right? So, we're talking about a country like Turkey, which has huge needs. Like, if you look at the imports, almost like half, 50% or 55% of things that it imports is energy, right? Gas and petrol and diesel and whatever the energy categories are. Now there has been recent. I mean, it's not very recent, but it's about to start. Is that the gas reserves that have been found in the Black Sea and Marmara Sea are about to be, start to be exploited. So basically, the Marmara Sea is a little bit difficult right now because there is a bit of a disagreement as to what the borders are in terms of like the international waters, and what part of the waters belongs to Turkey and what part belongs to Greece, so on. So those are a little bit areas that are still being contested and so on, right? So Marmara Sea, I don't foresee that there's going to be anytime soon any kind of like extraction of natural resources from that area. But I mean, you never know. But the Black Sea region, they're gonna start, because this one, there's no one is contesting that, and this is ready to go. And they have the president has done an inauguration ceremony for the underground Silivri underground natural gas storage facility, which will make it Europe's largest underground gas storage facility, right? So the total capacity has been expanded to 4.6 BCM. And the latest expansion work that they've done on it involves 31,000-meter marine drilling in 18 wells with platforms 3 kilometers offshore. So this is some extensive work that's being done. And soon they will have a recycling capacity of 75 million cubic meters and injection capacity of 45 cubic meters a day, whatever that means. But basically what we're seeing is that almost like they're looking at a huge amount of gas sitting in there that could literally meet the needs of Turkey for many, many years to come, and which will make it much more independent and much more stronger, especially when it comes to the currency as well. I see that. I'm not an economist, so again, please, take my words with a grain of salt, with lots of with a huge load of salt. But what I can see is that countries, from my observation, countries with large amounts of energy reserves or supplies, which are still not like sanctioned or anything like that, but that are just in normal terms with the major powers, tend to have better currency strength. So, from my understanding, once Turkey starts to really take that gas out, the lira should start to get back to like normal and stop fluctuating as much that it was. Even though the interest rates are continuing to stay at that rate, which is the belief of the current party, the AKP party. The President Erdogan is saying that we need to keep those interest rates at this level in order to the main rhetoric. I mean, I don't want to again get into this too deep, but let me just explain you, like, we know the other side of the story, what the Economist and these guys are saying. Washington Post, New York Times is saying, you need to raise interest rates, and that's going to fix everything. What the parties are saying, and the people in power in Turkey are saying, are that no, if we raise interest rates temporarily, it's going to fix the problem. and it's going to stabilize the currency a little bit. But a month, a few weeks, couple months down the road, it's going to go back to normal because nothing has really been fixed, like actually structurally in the economy. So what we need to do, according to them, is they're saying we need to continue production, we need to continue manufacturing, we need to increase exports, we need to start producing gas and exporting it and setting up all these infrastructure, so that working with other countries in the region, so that we can then naturally will have influx of foreign currency and different currencies coming in, whether it's US dollars, euros, pounds, yuan, reals, whatever it is that we're going to get that. And that's going to eventually strengthen the country and strengthen the currency itself. The confidence in the currency will then start to rise up. So this is like addressing the root of the problem rather than just like, hey, let's raise the interest rates and let's rely on other countries to give us loans and the IMF and so on. So their philosophy, the people right now, the party AKP's philosophy is to do this. And I think, as far as I understand, in the beginning, this was nobody in Turkey was like, the locals were not like supporting this, but there is a slight shift from my understanding that now, some of the locals are starting to get it, or many of the locals are starting to get it, and they seem to be okay with this part, at least for now, as far as I can see. So we talked a lot about many different topics. So let's go back to the initial question, which is, should you invest in Turkey? Is it safe to invest, or should you lay off? Right. So based on what I told you right now, so far it seems that it looks okay to invest in Turkey at this point. However, we still need to keep in mind that if you're just looking to invest in Turkey just from a money point of view, like just from zeros and just to look at the ROI and so on, I would say that there's tons of other places that probably can offer you better ROI, better numbers. But if there are different reasons for you to invest in Turkey, whether it's like you plan to retire there one day, you plan to move there one day, or you just like the feeling of having a property in Turkey, having an investment there, you have a certain connection with Turkey, so or you're looking to get the passport through investment and so on. So if you have some of these additional sort of reasons, and you're looking to also make a good decision, a safe decision, then of course you need to take into account what I've said, and then decide accordingly, right? So overall, as I mentioned, things are positive. But lastly, I want to say that the price of real estate is rising so far. Eventually, it's going to probably slow down at a certain point because it's just going way too fast at this point, especially in Istanbul. So expect it to slow down. But overall, I would say in the long run, it's still gonna be beneficial. Is my prediction or my opinion. Again, take it with a grain of salt. This is not a financial advisory statement or anything like that. Just, I'm not a financial advisor. Disclaimer. But yeah, just this is just a summary of what's happening, based on my experience, based on all the work that I do, and all the research that I have done, and the people that I talk to that are heavily involved in this country, and in these types of investments and so on. So this is the overall summary. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, yes, leave me some comments on what you think might be happening, and we'll see you in the next video.